First of all, we will start the presentation from Table 1 entitled Political Activism and Participation, Why They Take Part in Politics. Table 1 has been researching ways to increase political participation by focusing on the youth in Japan. Their key focus has been on the education sector and how improvement can be made to raise political awareness, starting from the production of educational curricula that highlights politics. To delve deeper, they have split into 3 trials and have tackled an even more specific topic. The first group took up the urban versus rural divide, digital divide, and gender inequality. The second group took up ethical politics, protests, and global citizen education. Lastly, the third group took up practical involvements, social media, and political literacy. Although abundant, each is concise and has been scrutinized comprehensively by the table.
はじめにテーブル1、アクティビズムと政治参加のなぜによる発表をお届けいたします。本会議での活動にて、彼らは日本の若者に焦点を当て、政治参加を促進する方法を研究してまいりました。政治意識を高めるためにはどのような改善ができるかを考え、教育分野における解決策について議論を重ねてまいりました。また、より深く掘り下げるために、3つに分かれた班にて、各々がさらに具体的なテーマに取り組んでまいりました。1つ目の班は、都市と、農村や男女における格差。2つ目の班は、倫理的政治及びグローバルシティズンエデュケーション。そして3つ目の班は、ソーシャルメディア及びポリティカルリテラシーについて研究活動を行ってまいりました。内容の幅は広いかと思いますが、皆様にとって興味深い内容だと確信しておりますので、ぜひお楽しみくださいませ。それではテーブル1の皆さん、よろしくお願いいたします。Table 1 members, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you very much, Ming and Lan. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. I am the table chief of Table 1. It is my honor today to be able to present on behalf of Table 1 and what we have been working on. So with that said, I would like to share my screen. All right. Okay, hopefully everybody can see this. All right, we will get started. So this is Table 1's final forum presentation. So as was mentioned in the introduction, we tackled the topic of political participation, education, meaning that we first started with the wide topic of political participation. However, throughout further research, we've decided to target the specific sector of education to further concise and make sure that our research was well researched and very deep enough so that we could cover, again, a wide spectrum of topics within the subset of education. And this is just roughly our table of contents of the proposal itself. I won't read the whole list, but the main components of our policy proposal is in the middle here, the literature review, findings, and policy proposal. This is the main part of our policy proposal, and this is the part that our table members took part in the most, from research all the way to summarizing and concluding their findings. The policy proposal itself is mentioned in the introduction. We have taken political participation as a very wide topic, and then we took education. So we narrowed that topic a bit and then further narrowed it by splitting our group into 3 further subsections. The subsections are as follows. The first one is the urban versus rural divide, digital divide, and gender inequality. As you can see, this subsection tackles inequality in general through looking at 3 case studies and examples that we see most prominent in our societies today. The second subsection, ethical politics, protests, and global citizenship education. As you can see, this one, although 3 topics are merged into one, this is also one where they all kind of fuse together very well, talks about ethical politics, ethics, and how that plays into our political systems currently, as well as this global citizenship education, which has become more pertinent now more than ever. Lastly, we have subset 3, which is practical involvement, social media, and political literacy. This was a topic that felt, again, especially pertinent now, especially the social media here. We've seen throughout even the course of the past 2 years, especially how social media has greatly impacted how youth members participate in politics and how it's become an extreme platform, very useful platform where people are able to engage in politics from the comfort of their homes. So social media has been a very big topic, and we're very glad we were able to cover it in this third subtopic. And this is just a quick overview of how roles were distributed, so how we divided and conquered. This is just a rough way to show the table of contents from earlier, with who was assigned to what and what we partook in throughout the course of the conference and the months that followed the advanced conference. And without further ado, and with this said, I'd like to pass it on to our first table member speaking, Rasha, for subsection 1.
Thank you very much, Sarah. In our policy proposal, we focused on the long-standing issue of urban versus rural, digital divide, and gender inequality in political participation. Scholars have argued that it is not that men participate more than women, but rather both genders participate in different forms. Furthermore, in an environment where socioeconomic characteristics and political attitudes were controlled, it was found that women are more likely to participate than men. Comparing the data from the 2004 International Social Survey Program to the statistics in Japan Nippon Foundation, we found out that the country's culture has influenced gender roles in Japanese society, making it harder for women to actively participate in political activities. Japan must consider undergoing a cultural transformation in order to close the gender gap in political participation. With this in mind, we have created our policy proposal, which centers around 3 points, which we call 3 I's. This policy aims to shed light on the importance of accessibility, quality education, and gender equality in political participation in the advancement of Japan as a more unified and politically vocal nation by first, increasing access in terms of the internet and other media to encourage people to participate more. Second, investing in organizations and educational institutions to effectively address the lack of political participation. We propose modifying current educational curriculums in primary and secondary institutions in a way to raise political interest within the younger generation. Lastly, implementing empowerment programs to positively impact political attitudes of women and youth alike. We propose to organizations to create programs similar to the USAID's Global Women Leadership Program that provides skill building and leadership training to increase the representation rate of women in government offices. With these plans, we hope to bridge the gap of gender, rural, urban, and digital one step at a time. To introduce the next topic, we have JL.
Thank you, Rasha. And for ethical politics, protests, and global citizenship education, we have focused on the discipline of education. And to relate it to the political participation, we have specified it to the citizenship education. And that's why you can see on our literature review, we have found out that citizenship education in Japan has been lagging for more than 40 years behind the world. This is despite of the wave of the educational reforms that has happened in Japan in the years 1947 and 2006. With the allowance of the Japanese government to allow the Japanese youth of the right to suffrage in 2015, it is then hoped that the political literacy of these societal sectors, especially the youth, to be improved. However, it has been concluded in the findings that only 51% and 33% of the Japanese youth were able to vote in the 2016 House of Councilors election and the 2017 Japanese national election. And with the statements that we have gathered from the literature review about the reasons why citizenship education in Japan remains below average, we have found out that educational approach in the country is one huge factor about this issue. To further address this issue, we propose a proposal that will uplift the citizenship education in Japan, which is to be discussed by Maine.
Our policy proposal aims to increase political interest and participation through the promotion of global citizenship education in learning ethical politics to optimize the current political subject for high school students in Japan. Our action plans include introducing the globalizing morality, human rights education, and global citizenship education to the existing political subject as mandatory class. Also, to hold public forums of politicians and high school students like the Model Political Conference and other youth forums supported by local governments. Learning civil disobedience in joining peaceful protests. Lastly, including refining Japanese political subject textbooks with both the East and West political sources. Thank you, and I will pass it to Yoko.
Thank you, May. Our section relates to practical involvement, social media, and political literacy. The literature Young People Turn to Online Political Engagement During COVID-19 examines and measures the political participation of young people on social media platforms. The analysis of the study shows that 70% of young people learn about the 2020 election through social media platforms. However, youth who get such political information tend to be constituted by who are more likely to have gone to college or who are more likely to identify as Democrats. Considering that equal provision of the information must be promised to every person who has rights to take part in political engagement, the significant issue is to devise the way of prevailing political information to people as equally as possible. Moreover, according to the analysis, only 36% of the young posted political content on their pages, referring that there are still many of youth who hesitate to claim political opinions online just because they feel like not being qualified to do so, even though looking at political content and sharing opinions have been common. However, the study also mentions that almost two-thirds of youth who make their voice on social media or who create political content online admit that they feel like being more engaged in social movements than before. Thus, facilitating more young people to make their own voice could be a clue to settle the situation. As for policy proposal, moving on to Vlada.
Thank you, Yoko. So from the research, we have found out that many young people do not voice their opinions on politics or do not create political content on social media because they feel not qualified enough to do so. And from the studies, it is also noticeable that social media platforms are becoming a space for youth to voice their opinions, especially during the pandemic. Therefore, we are proposing an online school program that would focus on political literacy and political social media creation. We believe that with such an initiative, we'll provide youth with more knowledge on important topics, make them feel more confident and more motivated to create and share political social media content. And now off to Sarah.
Thank you very much, Vlada and everybody else. I'd just like to summarize very quickly here to reiterate the reason why our group partook in this topic of political participation, specifically within the education sector, is because it was very unanimous. We all felt very passionate about political awareness and activism, especially with the state of our political states right now in worldwide, really globally. And so it was very important that we shed light on this issue and ways that we can increase political participation, not just in Japan, but also outside of Japan as well on a very global scale. I'd like to take this time to just give a quick shout out and a very big thank you to all of my team members and also our two sub-table chiefs. And for all of your hard work and everybody's collaboration within this project. So thank you very much. That is all from Table 1.
Thank you, Table 1, for your presentation. We have sent the feedback form in the chat, so please take a moment to fill in.
発表ありがとうございました。テーブル1のアンケートを、Zoom のチャットにてお送りいたしましたので、ぜひご協力いただきますようお願いいたします。
Furthermore, Table 1 has received the supportive mentorship from Professor Timothy Soul from the School of International Liberal Study, Waseda University. Thank you very much for your tremendous support.
なお、テーブル1の活動では、早稲田大学国際教養学部、ティモシー・スール先生より、メンターとしてのお力添えをいただきました。この場を借りて御礼を申し上げます。